Hi everyone, Ray from Pro String again with another racket restringing tutorial. I thought I was filming and I wasn't, so I've already put the strings through. But anyway, today's racket, as you can see, is a tennis racket, a Wilson Pro Staff 97 RF97 V11 version 11, 1619, stringing pattern 340 grams, I believe. 340 grams exactly. You can see I've got my two mains already in, one to each side, which therefore is 8 to each side, so 7 more I need to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The grommets, the headguard's not in such bad condition, but somehow the grommets are in very poor condition. The client said to leave it for this time, maybe next time. I've explained to them that, any type of early breakage or anything like that, to please not blame us afterwards. It was completely fine with that understanding. So inform your clients if they do have poor condition grommets or anything like that. It is best to let them know. At least they're going for 50 pounds of, at least they're going for 50 pounds of tension. A very difficult racket to use at 340 grams. It's a tough one, definitely a tough one. So you've got 6 holes at the bottom, 3 loops. Well, that's 1 loop. So we always start from the top of the racket in this type of case. Just looking around, see how many more rackets I have. Every time I get down 4 or 5, I get a few more in, interestingly enough. Alright, so always stringing 3 to each side when it comes to your mains, compensating the tension on each side. Don't go on just to string one side and then the other. It's very bad for the racket. Adds a lot of stress on one side and none to the other, risking deforming or breaking the racket, especially if it is a cheaper frame and it's not full carbon graphite. Not that it's okay to do it on a top racket, on a top of the line racket. I am stringing on a Wilson Bayardo original with very nice hydraulic system. So there you have it. That says number 5. So on my 6th one, after I pull the 6th one, I will tighten the 6th string. I'm going to move over again to this side. So one more. Ten past 4 London, UK time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Same on the other side. 6. Skip 1 at the bottom. Also skip 1 at the top. I believe this racket has the same top and bottom. It does indeed. And then you do 7. Skip 1. Your 8th and final string will be on your 8th main, where you're going to up the tension. In this case, 15% is what I have my stringing machine set to. So we've gone from 50 to 57.5. Yeah. And there you go, my knot is complete. It was a Parnell knot. I'll try to slow it down, guys. I'm on a bit of a time limit today. Gotta go be on the tennis court at 5 p.m. 5 to 7 p.m. in Holland Park, and then training my old self from 8 to 9:30 p.m. So there you have it. I've upped my tension again, 15%. tying the knot in exactly the same place that I've tied it on that side, which is my 7th main string, just one over from my last. So as you can see, I've gone down, around, and through the loop that I made, and I'm going to go down and back up through literally through the first knot that I did. Take away all the lag that there might be, which in here is what I'm talking about, and you can see that it will tighten up there. Well, not tighten up, but any lag that is in there will be taken out. Hopefully you've tightened your knot enough, but not too much where you risk breaking the string. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and a half. 7.5 lengths of the racket. So tying my knot on my 5th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, my 5th main, where the grommet is enlarged and nice and open for me to just put the string through, as you've seen, and share that hole for the knot and the main string. And now we're going to move on to our crosses. It doesn't matter if you start the first string at above or below that first main string. Using your hand, guys, especially, well, always, but be very careful with the first few. There's normally more friction in the first few and the last few crosses. So trying to avoid scratching the string in any way, which will make it look very unpleasant and unprofessional. So if you give the racket back to a person who understands a little bit, they'll be like, what's going on here? Why are the strings scratched? It's effectively burning the string, because the friction caused between the mains and the crosses is actually burning. You're effectively burning the string ever so slightly. If you've ever pulled a string against your string, if you ever pulled a string quickly against your skin, I guess your hands, you'll know what I mean by burning. It gives you that burning kind of feel. Because it's a plastic, it can, well, it doesn't matter what type of string actually, but with polyester it can be quite harsh. If it's a multi-filament or a synthetic, it's probably less painful, but if you rub this, a polyester against your string, against your, hands probably, unless you're in shorts or t-shirt, then on your arms or your legs, and you happen to, however, for some reason, pull it very quickly and it rubs against somewhere on your body, then yeah, you'll know what I mean by burning sensation. But anyway, so as you guys can see, I'm stringing one ahead as well. That means I am stringing one in front always, so I have one string that's been weaved already. I pull that, support the string, guys, so it doesn't go all the way down and don't have a whole bunch of strings all over the place at the end of your job. Luxilon Alu Power is a co-polyester string. Very nice polyester to play with, but if you do play at a high level, you'll know about breaking strings quickly. Very nice polyester, don't get me wrong, but breaks too quickly in my opinion, unless you have deep pockets or sponsored in some way. If you're a top player or junior or whatever, then you're getting it for free from Wilson. So Luxilon is effectively Wilson. It's an umbrella company pretty much underneath Wilson, or a separate company itself. I don't think so. I think it's kind of under, it is under Wilson, but just a different company probably. So again, always moving your hand with the string, avoiding friction. Hold that left hand up, hold that string in place, avoiding it from moving too much and leaving you with very unstraight strings at the end, which you're going to want to straighten out. But then once you straighten them up, then you're left with less tension. You'll lose tension. So Take your pick. Feels a bit loose. That's better. I've just tightened my clamp a little bit for some reason, and maybe I've rubbed against the it's got a little wheel here. Maybe I've just slightly notched it and moved it. Felt a little bit loose. Just tighten my clamp again. That's another really important thing to take into account, guys. Depending what thickness of string you're using, 125, 130, be careful that it's not sliding on you. There's no kind of sliding. Hopefully you have good clamps. Maybe with not so good clamps, it's going to slide a little bit, but that's where you want to be a bit more cautious and tighten your clamps up, but don't tighten them so much where you're marking the string. So I don't know if you guys can tell, but there's no marks from any of my clamping. With low quality machines or cheaper machines, unfortunately, so if you have floating clamps and stuff like that, it does tend to mark the strings a lot more. And you can see I'm not applying, when I'm opening and closing the clamps, I'm not applying much pressure at all. So I can pretty much just lift it with one finger or close it with one finger, which is a good sign that, you know, it's being clamped properly but not too tight. So I can just lift it, release, and again, almost no effort, but I can feel a tiny bit of pressure that I'm having to apply. So that's a good thing. A little bit of pressure is good, but not too much to where you're marking the string, or not enough where the string is sliding. Once you start getting into that territory and the string is sliding off your clamps, you're gonna have some issues with damaging the string. So when I say damaging the string, that can be a small scratch, a little kink in it, or, you know, if the opposite, being too tight, then you can see each and every clamp exactly where the teeth of the clamps are marked on the string. So just be wary with that, guys. Well, we're coming to an end on this Wilson Pro Staff RF97. It was very popular when it was launched, and I've had quite a few people try to sell me their racket, because then they're going on to realize that that racket was not for them. If you're an intermediate or even advanced kind of club player, 300, 305, maybe 310 at the very most. A little bit of advice in any case, try before you buy. I have about 15-20 rackets for demoing that we offer to clients for £20, 5-day demoing, which you can then if you decide to purchase a racket through us after demoing, anything spent on demoing, you get 50% back of the final purchase. So if you try 2 rackets, that's £40. You'll get £20 back if you decide to buy a racket through us in the end of your demo trials. Okay, man. Okay. So stringing one ahead. Don't have enough string to do one ahead of my last weave, so we'll just do one individual weave and done. The bottom weave is always the last to cross, or 2 is always the hardest ones, especially if you don't see. This is the reason you do one in front. As you can see, that weave was not very quick and smooth. Well, one reason is because it is the last one and all the tension is now set in the racket, so it's harder to always weave on your bottom strings. But also, secondly, because I didn't do one ahead, or also known as one in front. Alright, Parnell knot. Well, that's another one done, guys, for the day. Another tutorial for the books, or for YouTube. take your racket off your machine. It should come off easily. If it's not coming off easily, you've put it on far too tight probably. Applying too much pressure to the knobs or whatever you have on your machines. Normally small wheels that you can turn. £50 sounds pretty good to me for £50 of tension. And there you have it, guys. Wilson ProStaff RF97 V11. Hopefully there was some good information for you guys there, some knowledgeable stuff. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and have yourself a lovely rest of your day. Happy stringing, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.